There's not many jobs where making one mistake would put hundreds of colleagues' lives at risk, but this was the reality 28 years ago. In 1982, Tony Groom and William Bowles were part of the Royal Navy divers team. But little did they know how dangerous their job was about to become.
The main role of a clearance diver is to deal with anything that is likely to go bang below the high water mark. That belongs to the Navy and the diving branch.
You have to trust your partner implicitly to do the right thing when you're diving. So, you know, we're a close-knit group.
On the 5th of April, they were deployed on the largest naval operation since the Second World War to reclaim the Falkland Islands from Argentinian invasion.
I think most of us thought that we'd just be picking up kit that soldiers and Marines had dropped overboard. That's what we really thought we were going to be doing.
But this couldn't be further from the truth. Tony and William were about to have an experience they will never forget. Surrounded by British warships, RAF aircraft and thousands of ground troops, they were ready for action.
To start with, there was nothing there, and we waited. It was almost dreamlike, and how can this possibly be happening? And then very soon, the realisation hits, and there it was going on around us.
Jets just came pouring over the hills. They were firing at us and dropping bombs and firing rockets, but they were so low, so small and so fast that you think there's just no way we're going to hit them. We, of course, were shooting back. There was all the troops that had got ashore on the hills around were shooting up, and the noise was just colossal.
Unbeknown to each other, Tony and William both kept a diary of their time and experience during the conflict.
It was fantastic, terrifying sight. Aircraft flying and firing at the ships.
The British warships were being relentlessly targeted from every direction.
When you're on a warship and you hear over the broadcast, brace, 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 that means you're about to be hit. And I suppose, quite unashamedly, you think, please, not me.
You could hear the countdown over the radar, 4 planes approaching from the east, 25 miles, 24 miles, and it's seconds apart because obviously they're going so fast. 5 miles, 3 miles, and you think they're coming straight over us. Are they going to attack us? Have they got Exocet? And then they'll say, overhead, and you just close your eyes. And then you'll hear 1 mile to the west and you breathe out because it's gone.
But this was the least of their problems. Tony and William's job was about to take a dramatic turn for the worse.
The news coming in wasn't really good about what was happening. We didn't realise quite how many boats would be hit with bombs that weren't going to explode.
The enemy were flying so low to avoid our anti-aircraft systems that many of their bombs weren't exploding when they hit our ships. Making the bombs safe now fell into the hands of the diving team. And the grim reality of this job was about to hit home.
Approximately 1900, a huge explosion took place.
Tony and William were just 100 metres away from HMS Antelope when an unexploded bomb detonated.
Everyone hit the floor because it was so close. The UXB on Antelope had blown up while the Royal Engineers were defusing it. When a 1,000-pound bomb goes off that close to you, inside the confines of an aluminium ship, it is a shock. It's not just an explosion, I mean, it's huge.
Tragically, one of the Royal Engineers who was attempting to defuse the bomb was killed in the explosion. Tony and William were then needed on HMS Argonaut.
She has 2 unexploded bombs, both 1,000-pounders. One has gone through the port side, just above the waterline. It went right through the ship, through the boiler room, and came to rest under the ladder of the engine room. The second bomb ripped right through the ship and hit the hull of the starboard side. So if you can imagine, that's the width of a warship. That shows you the amount of power and weight in a 1,000-pound bomb, and it still hadn't gone off. The Royal Engineers did the bomb in the boiler room, defused, and we were to do the one in the magazine. Dave, the boss, and Stan Bowles went to look at the bomb on Argonaut, which was not a popular job after last night's viewing. So you see, we'd all watched her explode, and then you've got to go and work as close as 2 feet away from one.
We eventually got to it and could see that fortunately it was very slightly in a nose up, tail down position, which meant that the creep spring was probably holding the striker back from hitting the detonator. You can either render it safe where it is in situ, or, as we decided to do, just to remove it as carefully as we possibly could and just place it on the seabed. And that was quite a long process, and as you can imagine, we didn't hurry it.
It would take William and his boss days to defuse this 1,000-pound bomb, but the ship was still needed to fight.
So what happened during the day was that the crew were on board fighting the ship, and at night they were taken off to a safer place while we worked on the bomb.
With hundreds of colleagues around them, one wrong move could be fatal.
I suppose there's a little bit of, oh dear, what happens if this goes bang? But of course, if it goes bang, then we'll know nothing about it. So that could very quickly be put to one side and just get on with the job in hand and just focus on what we had to do. We had to be extremely careful. We knew how dangerous the situation was. That's why it took a long time. It took us, I think, from start to finish, 5 days.
This was one of many unexploded bombs the diving team defused during the conflict. And on the 14th of June 1982, the British Armed Forces overpowered the Argentinians and they surrendered. In total, 258 British servicemen gave their lives in the liberation of these small islands.